Good morning and welcome to Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe. My name is Lisa Ferraro. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. I am just kind of bubbling over this morning to have the privilege to have one of my dearest friends, Cara Armstrong, joining us this morning. Welcome, Cara.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be with you.
Cara is a poet, author, director of the School of Architecture and Art at Norwich University. You were the former curator of Falling Water,
Yes.
Frank Lloyd Wright. So I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. There's a little pocket of Frank Lloyd Wright inspired homes. I'm doing this because it's right up the street,
It's right there
right?
around the corner.
And you're in Vermont, but used to live in Ohio. You grew up in Ohio.
Yes, I have Ohio roots. I'm an Ohio native, so I'm thrilled to be talking to you in Ohio. Give Ohio my best.
Thank you. Well, and you know, it's some when I get a chance to speak with someone like you who's prolific in you're one of the most creative, brilliant minds I've had the privilege of conversing with or listening to other people have conversations where I just sit and kind of take copious notes in the corner.
Oh, that's so kind.
It's really true, but I'm so excited about you having this book published. It's called
A trick of living.
Sketches and Poems by Cara Armstrong. Congratulations, because poetry is not one of these things that a lot of people get published, which means you're pretty freaking awesome. I mean, it's an amazing thing, and I love this. I'm just going to read one thing from the bottom from the back. Cara Armstrong has crafted an extraordinary glimpse of traveling home, an intimate environment filled with animals, flowers, everyday objects, and garden, interwoven with poetry, a book for our time of isolation, and a reminder home is our real destination. I think that summed it up so beautifully. Um, it's the simplistic nature, and the sketches are fabulous. When I asked you, how long did it take you to do that? You said, what did you say? 32 years.
32 years. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot goes into it. And I was just trying to get to show the simplicity of the line and as a way to record who and what is around me. And in some ways, it's like a phenology journal in that I'm tracking the seasons and what's in bloom or who's showing up at my bird feeder, things like that. But in other ways, it's a kind of a deep looking inward too, and what these flowers or animals might be reminding me of.
Yeah, it's like practicing that presence. And I like this theme of home, because one of your particular gifts as an architect of many is how you pay attention to the common space, to make people feel more welcomed in it. Can you speak to your particular gift as an architect about the lines and the spaces?
Well, first of all, I think everybody deserves a home, and we all deserve to have our own privacy and space. But within that, I think we all need to have a common space and a shared space. And and Frank Lloyd Wright's work, that's shared space is often the fireplace. So it's a place to meet and gather. You gather around where the spark is and where you're telling stories. And in homes themselves, I think we need a kind of a community space, but also as a private space.
Yeah. When did you first know you had an inspiration or a soul's passion around architecture, the realization of what you just described so beautifully?
Well, I was tainted at birth since my dad was an architect and city planner. So as a kid, I got taken around to job sites and to look at cities. And I really thought my dad was quite magical because we would go visit his projects as they were being constructed. And he could say, well, over there is going to be a kitchen. Over there is going to be a bathroom. Or I remember when he designed a firehouse in Akron, Ohio, he explained to me how the number 4 was going to come up and make the tower. And I just thought that was so great and so exciting that he could see that in his head and then he could explain it.
Wow. And then this,
We could go visit it.
let's,
It was like he said.
we're able to get out and about again. I can't wait till we can be in proximity, physical proximity,
Indeed.
with one another. And then the poetry piece, though. Um, So an architect, we don't always think of the architect as being a poet who, but maybe that's just my thought, but like your eye for things and to be able to bring it to life is pretty extraordinary. You have a real, I mean, it's such a gift.
Well, I think it's the same gift you have as a musician. And I think it's a gift of being able to look at patterns and find the patterns, the spaces, the narratives, and how they intersect.
If I remember fondly being in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, sitting around that back kind of sunroom,
Yes.
sipping tea and looking through some of your first offerings of the poetry. And there was one that I remember we were laughing at and enjoyed quite a lot. I can't walk through. Was it with the carpeting in a Las Vegas hotel or something?
Oh, yeah. The Las Vegas wall to wall, which was all about, I called it the hermeneutics of carpet.
Yeah,
So I'm looking at the patterns of carpets in casinos and thinking about the job that they have to do to be welcoming, to be colorful, to kind of distract, but then they also have to be able to hold up to things like vomit. So both the practical and the poetic of the.
What are you most excited about these days? What is calling forth from your soul, your passion?
Well, there's a few things. One, I'm really into drawing right now, and drawing as a way of thinking, and also drawing as a way to, or sketching, I guess, drawing as a way to get outside of myself, and drawing as a way to connect with what's around me. I was just listening to Mono's interview the other day about how you were talking about as a percussionist, she keeps the time, but she also is able to take people outside of time. And I was thinking about how drawing is doing that for me right now.
Yeah.
I've been combining drawing and words, I think, and finding the rhythms between the two and how they can really complement each other instead of just being instead of detracting from each other, how they can be stronger working together. So I've also been looking at comics, which I know sounds,
Oh, yeah.
but I've been looking at Linda Berry's cartooning and Ivan Burnetti's cartooning philosophy, which has been helpful and kind of how to streamline a story, streamline a line, and get the content there in a simple, understandable way.
Yeah.
I guess a more universal way.
Yeah. Yeah. As you're saying this, I'm in the images in your book and those that you're sharing with friends on social media and how it's just like one line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's really challenging. But I've noticed more recently as things have been getting so interesting in our country that my lines have become, it's hard for me to sustain a simple line. So I've started doing scribbles, and that's been great for me to use scribbles and get the energy and my anxiety out in the drawing. And I think the drawing doesn't look particularly anxious. It looks like it might have energy in it, but.
And it probably does. I mean,
Yeah.
the universe is a spiral, right? So
Right.
it's fundamental.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and then I've just been doing simple drawing exercises with my students too, and that's been fun. And it is kind of a Zen meditation. One of them is drawing a spiral, one is drawing circles and then filling in with more circles. Or I have one called counting by fives, and I just do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I do that for a whole sheet. And it kind of gets you out of your mind in a way. And then it's, I think that's a way to enter into writing or drawing then.
yeah.
So it's kind of a precursor.
I'm thinking of two things one that I've not thought of in years. I'm just kind of this scribble. When I watch my mother sign something, she'll do 3 times. And I remember asking her one time, why do you just do this in the air before you start to write? Because they were taught ready, 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 write.
That's so nice.
So
you're prepping, you're getting into it.
You're getting
your
into
warm up.
Yeah, it's like, putting something into materialization that's already in motion. It's like your contemplation. I don't know why they taught them that, but they did. But I think of that, and then I think of when little kids are pretending to write.
Oh, yeah.
That
And
part.
then, we had to learn cursive. I don't necessarily think that everybody is learning that
These,
anymore, but doing all the different kinds of loops,
yeah.
the L, the S, the O.
And then to channel all of this, um, getting all of this creativity out, but then to be able to have the gift to initiate this learning, um, I, from somebody else, to evoke that creativity, maybe somebody who's introverted, or what's been your biggest challenge and your biggest reward as the director of the School of Architecture and Art? How does that relationship, it seems like an obvious relationship, but then I'm sure there are specificities in there that just kind of are unique.
But a lot of schools have architecture separate from art. And one thing that I like about Norwich is kind of a weird combination, but architecture and art is one, but which I don't find so weird.
Yeah.
But then within the college, I'm in a college called College of Professional Schools, and that includes engineering, business, cybersecurity, and architecture. So it's kind of not who you would normally think of
Right.
being all together. But it's been really great because we've had a chance to collaborate with each other. So one of the things that I've been doing is we started a design build collaborative. And since 2011, we've done 8 different affordable housing prototypes for people in Vermont. And most recently, just before Christmas, we gave somebody who had been homeless a new home that they could be in. And
Wow.
that was really moving. And it was we were able to do that thanks to working with nursing and engineering. Nursing is helping us give kind of wraparound support to the person. And we're also working with Washington County Mental Health and Down Street Development so that people can get housing vouchers. So, I mean, I'm really proud of projects like that that are making a difference. And I think that students are seeing you don't have to wait to graduate to make a difference. You can already start having an impact on your community. And really, I think collaborating with people in different ways has been really important to me.
Well, that's a powerful thing. First of all, congratulations, and what a blessing and a gift.
Oh yeah, and I was excited because for the first time, there's 4 of our affordable housing units together.
Mhm.
So we created our own little community, and a community for people to be in. And then one of the places is a peer support person, so they could all come together. And then at Christmas, we took them wreaths and cookies and things like that. So it was great to welcome them into the community and to connect them with the larger community too.
Powerful. Now, tell me about how excited you are about this book. It's going to be in our SoulCall store, but you've got it available on your own website too.
I do, but I wanted to say that proceeds from the sale of the book will go to SoulCall Ministries. So I'm very excited to be part of that. And I just realized today I'm on Facebook, which has its pluses and minuses, but I got a memory today, and today is the 8th anniversary of when I graduated with my MFA in poetry. So
Whoa.
it felt like a real accomplishment to have. I have a book now. It took me over 8 years to get here, my first book of poetry, but it's been a great trip.
I'm feeling that so much because I remember being in communication with you throughout the process. So I'm so proud of you and so grateful for you and what you bring to the planet in so many different ways. So thank you for sharing your passion and your brilliance. Anything else you want to offer before we leave it for this moment? Like I could talk to you for 10 hours and it would still just be, I always feel like when I'm leaving talking with you, I'm just barely scratching the surface. There's always
I
so,
wanted to talk about Rumi because I was thinking about when I was going to my MFA program, I would have to drive from Pennsylvania to Madison, New Jersey, and just listening to Rumi on the way, and how that I think that put me in the mindset to open myself
Mhm.
and drink a rare wine. So
Well, you're talking about, that's funny, On the Way, because the name of that recording is On the Way of Love.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm grateful to have been accompanying you on that trip and to help to bring some of that vibration into this world. Cara Armstrong, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you all for joining us for Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe. And once again, this a trick of living will be available in our SoulCall store, which should be ready very soon. And so partake, and wherever you are in your corner of the world, bring that presence and don't wait, as Kara says. You can do it right now. And so wherever you are, just know that you are loved. Peace and blessings.